Hi, I'm Kaylee Lancaster, and this is my semester project for Education 277. So for this assignment, I worked with a 4th grade student. After talking with her teacher, which is my mom, I learned that the student really enjoys multiplication and division facts. She really likes problem-solving puzzles. She struggles with a little bit in mixed numbers and improper fractions, and doing multi-step problems with more than one operation in it. So after talking with the teacher, I learned that she had not yet covered line plots, so I decided that this would be a fun lesson to work with the student on, just so she had no background on it that I knew of, and was able to kind of see the progress that she made over the course of our lesson that I taught. So for this lesson, I chose the standard 4 MD4, so the 4th grade measurement and data. For my activities, I used the Common Core worksheets to find 2 different worksheets or activities to work with the student. That way I knew that I hit the standard that I wanted to, and this would make sure that I could see the progress if she understood that standard or not. I used the creating line plots with fractions and then also interpreting line plots. I also used from Teachers Pay Teachers a line plot task card that the teacher had and volunteered to let me use, and then also the manipulative didactics to use to help cover fractions before we went over it. First, I began by just building rapport. So on our walk into the school to find a table to work at, I just kind of talked with her, one, about my mom being the teacher that kind of helped build that rapport. Then also, I had worked with her a few summers ago in a camp, so I saw that she remembered me from that and was able to build some rapport through that. I used my iPad for most of the lesson, so I first brought up what's on the screen, which is didactics, just because I knew that she may have struggled with fractions a little bit in one of our activities that we were doing later on, used fractions. So I just brought out some fractions, let her, just showed how fractions kind of worked, and then I also let her play around with the fractions just to allow her to see how the iPad works. She loved the iPad, so she got used to me responding, and then I also got used to her kind of responding throughout this to see how our lesson would go. I then began my lesson on line plots, so I used these task cards. So this first one, I just kind of went over what a line plot was. Here's some definitions. The definitions are a little bit trickier, so I kind of went over those a little bit in different terms. I kind of did these first 3 just explaining the line plot, then the questions, and then transitioned into these last 3, her explaining the answers to me and going over those with me. I then did this interpreting a line plot. This was super simple for her. She was able to do it super easily, which was awesome to see. So these first few were pretty simple. These last couple got a little more difficult, but after just a few reminders from me on how the line plot worked, she was able to get them no problem. Finally, we did this creating a line plot, which brought a little bit more difficulty as we brought farther down. But again, she rocked through it all too. So over the course of this lesson, I learned many different things, and so some of the things that went really well is as I was explaining, I was just continuing to check in with her to see if she was understanding. This allowed me to know if I could dive deeper or maybe just continue on to see if she was understanding it well enough. She absolutely loved using my iPad, which I think was a great asset because it allowed her to be more excited to work with me, and I think it brought down a little bit of a barrier because she was having a lot more fun with it. And then I also think she learned a lot throughout this lesson on what a line plot was and what it's used for. And so this made me feel better about the lesson that I did teach. Some of the things that didn't go as well as I hoped was just, especially at the beginning, understanding the task cards. That was a little bit more difficult. So I think some things I would do differently was I would dive a little bit more deeper and explain each individual part of a line plot if I were to teach this again, just so that that understanding is there and better for the student. Some of the things she struggled with a little bit were, especially on this creating line plots, the lower we got was with the fractions, breaking those up into other parts, but we overcame that by just me kind of helping her break up each individual part, knowing that each eighth we should separate it into 8 different pieces, and once it was there, she was easily able to plot that line plot. So from this experience, I learned how to create a lesson, I learned how to teach it, and how to kind of read a student as well on how they're understanding it. Thank you.